Thanks for tuning in, guys. There are many schools of thought on focus pads as to whether you keep the pads still or whether you move and actually meet the punches of the puncher. Often these myths are passed on by people who have never done it or have never been trained in it, or they've just been passed on from someone who told their mate, who once held a pair of cushions off his settee for his other mate to punch. We're going to give you the lowdown of what you can't do on the pads when meeting, what you can do, and most important of all, what you should never ever do, otherwise you will definitely injure the puncher. We hope you're going to find this useful. Let's go through it and give you the lowdown right now. Okay, firstly, what you can't do. Now, imagine that I'm a beginner punching. Now, I may not know quite how to judge my range. Now, when I throw my punch, if I haven't set my wrist or if it's not in a completely flat position, meeting the punch is firstly going to shorten the punch. That's the first problem. Secondly, it's going to increase the impact. That's the second problem. And thirdly, and most important, if my wrist isn't set, it could cause it to bend or to break or to be injured. So meeting the punch of a complete beginner isn't a great idea. In fact, it can cause a real problem. The other thing as well is when I'm hitting a moving target, it becomes much more difficult. So with a beginner, we don't recommend that you meet the punch at all. Keep your pads dead still. Now imagine that I'm an expert puncher. Now, one of the problems we've already covered just before is that meeting the punch does in fact shorten the range. So you're going to have to lengthen your range very slightly. So no longer are you going to check your range to here, but you're going to check your range to roughly here. This gives the pad holder a little bit of room to move into the punch. So once they do that, they move in to meet that punch there and to meet that punch there. So we do it again, 1, 2. And what happens is the pad holder is moving the pads forward only. We've covered moving the pads forward only, and that's because the thing that you should never ever do, and this will cause a problem for your puncher, is if the pad holder retracts first. By retraction we mean this. As I throw my punch, the pad holder pulls the pad back. This can cause me to hyperextend at the elbow. Now believe me, some punchers can punch fast enough that you will not be able A, to read it, or B, to react in time to meet that punch. Some punchers, the idea of throwing a jab particularly is that your opponent can't see it coming. Now, this punch can go from here to here in 0.05 of a second. A human being takes 0.1 of a second to react. That means if I don't do something first to show that this jab's coming, which I shouldn't do anyway, the pad holder can't possibly react in time. So, by retracting the punch, that there is going to cause me a problem with my elbow. So what you must never, ever, ever, ever do is retract the punch. Only move the pad, only move the pad forward. So we'll do 1, 2, like that. There. Practice doing it slowly first to get the hang of meeting the punches, and then when you get better, then you can increase the speed. You've got to learn to read the timing of the jab of the person. And if they do punch without any sign, you might have to get them to give you a little sign that they're going to throw that. Hope you find that useful, guys, and that is going to cause less injuries for your clients.